jazz. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of L.E.W.D. We're going to be starting with the saxophones, and we're not going from any normal place. Why do that? There's 8 million alto and tenor vids how to play. We'll get to those, but we're going to start. We did the clarinet series starting from the bottom. Now we're going to start from the top down, or almost at the top. We have the baby, or well, the second youngest now, the second highest. There is one higher than this, which is called the Sopranino saxophone, made by a company called L.E.W.D. But I don't have one of those, so we're just going to start at what for a while was the highest pitched saxophone you could that was commercially available for purchase. So we got a Sopranino. That's what it is. It is pitched in E flat. It's an octave above the alto. Why would you want one of these? Why wouldn't you? Don't you want to scare every dog in your neighborhood and annoy your neighbors, have them banging on the window at 5 in the afternoon, wondering if there's some heinous activity going on in your apartment? But he's like, no, I'm just practicing the jazz. Get with the times, old man. But anyway, pitched in E flat, octave above the alto. How are we gonna set these up? Oh wait, let's talk horns for a minute, because this is it's kind of a bizarre little horn, and I do need to talk about this. So this isn't any name brand model. This is a horn from a Chinese manufacturer called JAZZLORD. It's a funny thing with some Chinese companies, JAZZLORD, and there's another one I can't remember off the top of my head, but they make horns for a lot of name brand companies, and those name brand companies charge a hefty sum for this horn. Or, something similar. They'll have like maybe slightly different keywork. Sometimes not at all. Sometimes they'll just slap their own name on it. They'll just order what finishes they want from the company, slap their name on it, and then charge you $3,000 for a horn that I got on eBay, brand new, for $600. I set it up with you really don't have many choices for mouthpieces with this. You have Selmer, Van Doren, Yanagisawa, and this horn came with a stock mouthpiece that was a copy of a Selmer, the Selmer S80. But the funny thing with the S80s for Sopranino is I don't know how well you're going to be able to see in there. Or maybe you could. It's got a round chamber, unlike the rest of the pieces that have a square chamber. I don't know acoustically what that does, but it is different than the other ones, or maybe it just wasn't from a manufacturing standpoint. It was maybe too difficult on such a small little mouthpiece. You don't have much variety for tip openings either. Selmer offers a C star and a D. Van Doren offers a couple of 1 or 2 mouthpieces in similar tip openings, and I think the Yanagisawa offers them. Now the Van Doren, Selmer, they're going to be hard rubber. The Yanagisawa, they actually make them in metal, if I am to believe what I've been finding online. Not necessarily so sure, because, especially if you're on Amazon, they sometimes just slap any old photo up. I've seen listings for Sopranino mouthpieces that have a picture of an obvious soprano piece. It's like, what am I getting if I pay you this money? And they're not cheap for its size. Like this mouthpiece cost me $200. Now I went and bought it from a wonderful music store in Boston. I live in Boston. Bought it from a wonderful music store, Virtuosity, and it's a wonderful place to go. They have a lot of nice stuff, and they had this mouthpiece here, so I brought it home to try it out. And yeah. Now, I'm playing on 3 Van Dorens, Sopranino reeds, and they're working out pretty good. I do notice that the funny thing with this, not as tight an embouchure as you want to think as you think. It's firm. No, don't get me wrong. It's a very firm embouchure. And for me, for the mouthpiece, we'll get back to the horn talk later. I'm jumping around, but for the mouthpiece, taking about yay much. I'm still, my oral cavity's open. I got my throat working. It's not super constricted. Obviously, it's going to be smaller up here. We need to speed up the air. We're playing super high now. In order to get the high partials, the air has to go faster. So the tongue is arched up in the mouth. Throat is, we're voicing our note. Even if we can't physically sing the pitch, we're voicing our note to, voicing the notes as we're singing them. You know, the other people can go into this concept better. This is low effort woodwind playing. So we're just trying to get started. Let's go back to the horns for a minute, because I think it's fascinating. So this company, JAZZLORD, makes horns for a lot of new saxophone manufacturers, or, well, they really, to get on my soapbox for a second, they're not really manufacturers. They just order the horns in bulk, have them lightly customized, and then sell them at a 300-400% markup. Don't like that. Really don't like that. I'd rather just go to my buddies in China and just give them what they want for the horn with their name stamped on it, the guys who made it. I'd rather them just get the money directly. Why not? But anyway, this horn, really, especially for the money I paid for it, is pretty damn good. I mean, it plays reasonably well in tune. Now, granted, you didn't hear a spectacular example of intonation, but of what we were just playing. It takes a lot of control. And something like this, you really need to be conscious about how you're voicing your nose, especially when you're way up top. Getting above that high F, oh, itchy. Getting above that high F is, you know, really difficult, especially if you're not used to playing the high horns. But funny thing about this horn, it's pretty solidly built. I'm not having issues with intonation. The horn plays in tune with itself. Now, whether or not I can play consistently in tune is a completely another matter. But, yeah, it seems solid enough. It's such a small horn, too. I mean, it's delicate. Like, these saxophones, they're all delicate, and it does have softer metal than some of the older, more vintage horns that are out there. But, you know, at the same time, I'm not playing this horn very often. And if you pick up a Sopranino for yourself, you're not going to be playing it that often either. It's just it's a fun thing to have. And sometimes, for fun things, you don't really need to spend a whole lot of money. Now, I'm not advocating that everything coming out of the East is stellar quality, because a lot of it is hot garbage. But this particular horn, guys did a good job doing it. So, you know, I commend them for that. But anyway, whatever you pick up, we have a few manufacturers out there now that are actually making their horns. You have Yanagisawa, you have Selmer, and who was the other guy? Yanagisawa and Selmer. Yamaha doesn't make one, as far to the best of my knowledge. You do see vintage American examples from time to time. You see Kahns and Buschers sometimes, very rare. I have no idea how those horns play. I would never had one in my hands. But those are keyed. A lot of the older Sopraninos you're going to find are only keyed to E flat. It's not like you really need to go higher than that on this horn. But for guys like me that are demand a little more exacting specifications from our instrument. Oh man, it's getting hot, so I'm kind of sweating a bit. Demanding a bit more professional level features to suit us. This horn is keyed to high F sharp. High F sharp is very difficult to play on this horn. I have to work up to it. Okay, I'm not gonna torture you with that. That's just practice, you know. But on a good day, after I practice it for a few days, you know, we can get back up there with some level of consistency. But it's all about practicing with the tuner. I like the Peterson Strobosoft on my iPad, which I don't have here. I wanted to do the whole thing like, look at how in tune it is, but we don't need to do that. But anyway, you have Selmer, you got Yanagisawa, are basically the two modern companies making their own horn. I believe this particular example, I think it might be based off of Selmer, actually. It really feels like one. A couple little quirky things going on, but nothing that can't be overcome with practice. Or it might be. I honestly don't know. It's a copy of one of those horns. It's either a copy of a Selmer or a Yanagisawa. I haven't had enough Yanagisawas in my hands to really make that call. But here, check out the layout, and you tell me. What does that look like to you? Anyway, yeah. So I set this up with a Selmer S80. You just practice your long tones, stick with the tuner, and you should be good. But as far as repertoire, like, what would you even do with this? There's a few jazz musicians of note, or at least one that really comes off the top of my head at the moment. You have Anthony Braxton, who played a lot of Sopranino. He actually plays it on Conference of the Birds, Dave Holland, which is a great recording. I love that kind of stuff. That's my wheelhouse, so to speak. But yeah, there's... Who else is here? There's like you see some classical saxophonists performing Ravel's Bolero. The little, you hear it a lot on E-flat clarinet. Some people play it on, I think it was originally written for sax though. So the E-flat, the clarinet thing might be completely off base. But I have heard it played on Sopranino, but I hear it a lot played on soprano because this is just a very uncommon horn. The thing to note, the modern examples are very expensive. Like, this is a very involved horn mechanically, and they're such small parts, it's very difficult to manufacture, and the more difficult the horn is to manufacture, the more expensive it becomes. That's why oboes are so expensive. If you ever took a look at the nightmare that key layout is, you sort of get an idea. Bassoon too, they're stratosphere. But to be able to get a halfway decent horn for $600 that, you're going to pull out like once in a while, or you're going to bring it to a jam session or a jazz gig. It's a fun voice, though, very different from the soprano. I may do a comparison when we do the soprano video, just as a quick aside thing. But I don't have that horn unpacked right now, and I'm not getting it. So we'll just have to stick with this. But, to get a halfway decent horn for $600, even if it's a copy of something, is a great way to get into playing this little horn without spending a whole ton of money. Now, the mouthpieces are pricey though. This Selmer S80 was, I think, about $200, and the reeds aren't cheap either. I think I paid $34 for a box of 10. But threes seem to work with the C-Star pretty well. It does seem like it would be pretty soft, but actually it's I'm not having problems with intonation, and after some practice getting back used to the horn, the high notes do speak clearly, so I don't think it's a problem with mouthpiece or reed. It's player problems, so practice, always. But, yeah, so Sopranino, it's got a very, very unique voice to it, and, now that you can get a decent horn cheaply, maybe we might see a few new players on it, bringing something really wacky, because just from the altissimo alone, which I am not going to play for you right now, it gets crazy. So, but very fun horn to play, and if it's something that strikes your fancy, you won't really be using it so much for like pit orchestras or any kind of thing like that. We're just a voice, another voice to express, for us jazz musicians to go and express ourselves, and yeah. That's it for this video. So yeah, quick little introduction to the Sopranino low effort woodwind doubling. Check out the other videos in the series that might pop up if I remember to do that when I upload the video. And yeah, enjoy. Check them out. Just search Jim Bow Sopranino on eBay. Yeah, not a bad horn. Like, really, truly. So yeah. I don't know how to end stuff. I'm just gonna shut it off now. Love you. Bye.